Welcome to GT Properties Property Market Update for 2022. It's been a big year. I know there has been a lot of changes in the property market, so I think now is a really good time of year to reflect what's happened previously in Brisbane for the last 12 months, also going forward what's going to happen over the next few years. Looking at some of the facts and statistics above here. So Brisbane's house prices have increased 7.4% annually over the last 12 months and 36.5% since 2019, which is massive. So sure, we've seen the last few months a bit of a decline in property prices. They've clawed back a bit, but again, the last 12 months has performed well above the long-term average. And over the last 2.5 years, our market has performed extremely well. So hence that guide of investing for the long term. None of us know the bottom of the market. None of us know when the top of the market's going to be. So we've just got to get in and hold those properties. So about 2/3 of the property cycle, properties are pretty flat. They may decrease a little bit. It's that last third of the property market where we really see that dramatic increase. So it's a matter of holding on to the property for the long-term gains, and that will overcome those short-term variances in the market. Rental income. So over the last 12 months in Brisbane, we've seen rental income of 13.6%, which is great for cash flow. Of course, we've seen interest rises dramatically over the last 6 months. It's really affected our cash flow, but helping overcome that is the rental demand. With vacancy rates running about 0.8% in Brisbane currently, there's a real shortage of rental accommodation. So most experts are expecting the rental market only to get tighter, more demand than supply, and that's going to push up rents for the long term. In terms of listening to the RBA and interest rates and speaking to a lot of banking experts and finance specialists, forecasting another few rate rises before the market will start to flatten off there, which is good news for property investors. And I know previously we've paid 10, 15, 20% for interest rates on property prices, but that long-term growth has still been very strong over those higher interest rates. So I think it's just been a bit of a shock this year because we've seen historically low rates. Queensland's population growth since the COVID outbreak has been 92,000 people, which is huge. So again, it's put a real pressure on property prices and rental income as well. So that's a bit of a wrap what's happened over the last 12 months. Been very good results overall, but what's more importantly, what's going to happen over the next few years. So looking at 2023 and beyond. I think the market currently has slowed down a bit. There's certainly less buyers around. A lot of people are a bit unsure, a bit nervous, but I actually think it's a really good time to get into the market. There's more buying opportunities, been personally looking at some development sites for clients and being able to secure some great properties at prices that we haven't seen for some time. So now I believe there is a bit of a window opportunity to get in before that next market growth. So why do we think property prices are going to grow over the next few years? So the Australian government has recently announced or approved 195,000 visa applications Australia-wide for next year. Now, even if only 100,000 of those take up those applications, that's a massive growth and need for property in Australia. And most of that population growth will go to the major capital cities. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on rental demand in Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, etc., which is only going to exacerbate the vacancy rate, and it's going to push up the rental income for sure. We've got, of course, Brisbane's got the Olympic Games in 2032, and we're already starting to see people talk about that. So how's that going to affect the property market? We only need to go back to the year 2000 when Sydney hosted the Olympic Games and saw that was the start of the price growth in Sydney. So it put Sydney on the worldwide map, and also we're having to create a lot of infrastructure, games, accommodation, villages, sporting venues. They'll all have to be expanded and improved to cater for this Olympic game. And of course, to build those facilities, we're going to need workers to come into the state. So we know that the unemployment rates in Brisbane, like most of Australia, historical low levels. There's simply not enough workers to satisfy the job demand. So again, more of these workers can come in, and these workers have to buy or rent a property somewhere. So it's great news for the overall market in Brisbane. Just one of the factors there. We're seeing a lot of overseas migration, not only next year, but over the next few years, as now our international borders have opened up. We're just starting to see that growth now. So over the next few years, the forecasts for the Australian population growth are very strong. They're forecasting population growth in Australia of about 3 million by 2030 in 8 years' time, which is huge. So Brisbane's population is projected to grow by 400,000 by 2030 in 8 years' time, and grow by 1 million over the wider Brisbane area. So these cities bordering on the Brisbane city itself are going to see this growth as it's a more affordable housing, and we simply don't have enough land in the Brisbane region. So overall, very strong, very positive. We've had a great year. Certainly been some challenges this year in terms of interest rates and property demand, but the forecast going forward for the next few years is very strong. So for anyone looking to invest or get into their own home, I suggest the sooner you can do that, put that in place, the better, based on the forecast of this growth, which affects demand. So hope this helped, and a bit of a review for the year and also the next few years going ahead. Have a great and safe Christmas and New Year. Really enjoy the time with family and friends, and look forward to catching up with everyone in 2023. And we'll be on board early in January, and we'll be sending out some information on the next year. So great, and have a fantastic Christmas.